Yeah. Why can I never do this right? My question. There we go. Yes, ma'am. Hi guys. I was just trying to figure out YouTube camera. Oh, hello. There are 3 of you here on YouTube already. How are you guys doing? I am so happy to see you again. I have some exciting news today. Hi, Not a Butter. Not a Butter, what's your name? Because I feel like I should address you as something better than Not a Butter. Hi. Hi. Hi, Jen. Hi, Brett. Hi, Sammy. Hi, guys. Okay, Charles. Nice. Nice. Okay, nice to meet you, Charles. So, I have some quite exciting news today. They're not yet super confirmed, but I'm going to share them anyway. I'm not going to give out too many details, but I'm going to give out some details because I also want to create a poll and see your opinion on something. Oh, kia ora. Are you Maori? Well, I'm assuming you are if you're saying kia ora. I follow this guy. His name is Turanga, and he is Maori from New Zealand. And he is a frontman of Alien Weaponry. And he's really cool. He talks a lot about like Maori culture. And I know kia ora from him. That's how I know it. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know. So that's very cool. TikTok can be a very cool resource for learning about different cultures. So kia ora to you too. And in Ukrainian, привіт. So yes, I have some very exciting news. Kia ora. Okay, gotcha. Well, see, it's interesting. Carlos, you know how to pronounce everything. Hi, Brandy. Hi, hello. Hi, Tammy. See, Carlos, you know how to pronounce everything. I thought that I was doing a pretty good job. Yes, Ukraine has been winning the war for a while now. Thank you. Hi. Hello, Bob. How are you guys today? Hi, Jason. Oh, I see. Hi, Jennifer. Oh, no. Oh, wait. You know what? It might be. I gotta switch to Wi-Fi. I also decided we as a household voted that we should upgrade our internet. So starting from the 1st, I'm going to have faster internet, and hopefully that's going to help with all the streams and everything. Also, safe travels and happy anniversary, Jennifer. That's awesome. So Jennifer here has an anniversary. So please let's say congrats to her. Привіт. Привіт, St. Valen. So let's say congrats to Jennifer on her anniversary, because that's a very nice thing to have. And it's a fun thing to celebrate. I hope you guys have a good time. If you're also on TikTok, then that's where most of the happy anniversary and congratulations are happening. So hello, Cat Cloud. Everybody's saying happy anniversary. So yeah, thank you, Jilly. So I have some exciting news now that more of you are here. One, I'm going to create a poll on YouTube because, well, as we know, YouTube has better polls. Okay, 1 second. So I launched the poll on YouTube, so you can already go there and vote. But basically, here's what happened. So I, as you know, love socks. I love socks, love socks. My dad, um, turns out my dad knows a man who owns a sock company, and they can sew any kinds of socks, literally any kinds of socks, anything you can imagine. And they're very high quality. They're 95% cotton and 5% elastane. And he has had this company for a while. This is just like what he does. It's his business. And he asked my dad if my dad wanted to go in on this business with him a while ago. And my dad's answer was like, well, last thing I'm assuming I would do with my life is socks, because I know nothing about them, right? I just wear them. Now, I, over here, as a lover of socks, was like, why did you never tell me? Because I would love to design socks and have part in a sock production company. Are you kidding me? In a sock brand. So my dad was like, oh, I didn't know you'd be interested in socks. And I'm like, hell yes, I'm interested. I'm very interested in socks. Like, did you not know your daughter? I'm sorry, what? So my idea here is, you know how I have the spice shop. My idea here is that I basically would design socks for this brand, and my dad would basically just like buy out a part of this business, and I would be the designer, and I would want to do like different sock designs and stuff like that, and I would sell them through Yewleea.com, through the spy shop, but they would be fulfilled in Ukraine and shipped out to you. Would you guys be interested in different, like, I would do a bunch of, like, you know how Dodo has like Ukraine themed socks? I would obviously not copy them, because there are a lot of brands are doing Ukraine themed socks. Like, this is Amiga, and they also do like Palenitsa Ukraine themed socks. There's like a lot of, and I have a bunch of ideas. And so they would be high quality. They would be really good socks. They would probably be cheaper than high quality socks like that in America. I mean, I need to see how much, like what shipping's like, what, like everything like that. But I mean, like, I'm gonna do it anyway, because I just like I'm obsessed with socks. I would love to have a sock brand. Are you kidding me? But I was just wondering if you guys would be interested in it too, because I would have an opportunity to like link it to my shop, and it'd be fulfilled and made in Ukraine at a factory in Ukraine, at a sock sewing like factory in Ukraine. We could do any kinds of designs. I would do like limited designs once in a while. Так, я бачила збір від притула, я про нього вже говорила також. And I would basically like, I would have them on my store, and I would do like a bunch of Ukraine themed socks. I would do a bunch of like just regular different socks that I think are cool. But I thought that Ukraine themed socks were like really funky lately, and so I thought maybe this could be a cool thing to do. So I wanted to see if you guys were interested. Yay, okay. And then so I am Ukrainian, yes. Yeah, I like fancy socks best. Yeah, that's like the thing. I mean, like, it's not even fancy. Like, I do love really good socks though, because так, я з України, я зі Львова, я народилась і виросла у Львові. But basically, yes, I and they would be like available for sale in Ukraine, because they already are. It's just that like we would partner up and do like something, do more designs and stuff like that, because they're more just like, they make really nice socks, but they're not super designy. But I'm designy. I could design socks. I could make them cool. I could make cool socks. But so yeah, I love like odd socks, daily sock check-in. This is the rooster, and it says, oh my gosh, Kumanets, and then this, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And then this one is Patron, and this has Patron on it. And these are Dodo socks. Most of my socks are Dodo socks, and so I would love Doda Socks is a Ukrainian company, and I can stop talking about them because those are all my socks all the time. Daily sock check-in. Sorry. Yeah, I could do socks in wool too. Like someone's asking any chance they would do some in wool. I adore wool for hiking. Yeah, I could do different kinds of socks. I have wool socks from them too. Like the winter ones are wool and they're longer and they're very like thick and warm. Catch you later, Charles. And привіт, Одеса, привіт, як справи? Привіт, Україна. Привіт. Oh my gosh, we have Ukrainians in the chat. As per Aravosis' tradition, which I find very lovely, could we please send either sunflowers or I don't know, Ukrainian themed things to welcome Ukrainians to our live. Привіт, Kyiv. Thank you guys. You're so sweet. You're doing it on YouTube too. I love it. But so yeah, so this was news number 1. News number 2, you know how I said the other day that I would do a limited edition Ukraine themed sweatsuit on the Yewleea.com. And I was gonna do it kind of like I was just gonna do like a separate design. But the other week, I mentioned this coffee shop / really cool brand in my neighborhood. You didn't miss much. You didn't miss much, Lauren. You could, if you go over on YouTube, you'll see in one question what you missed. But basically, I mentioned this brand the other week, the coat of arms, the green T-shirt that I got for John. So I talked to the owner of the brand, and I thought that I don't want to do like basic. I want to make a limited edition. I want to make a limited edition collaboration. It would be Coat of Arms X Yulia, and it would be, I'm not going to tell you what it would be, but it would be like a one-off limited edition, like 2-garment piece that we would design together. And it would be premium quality and quite high end because the store is quite high end. And so like, it's not going to be my typical prices. It's going to be the price point of the store, but it's going to be made to like raise money for Ukraine. So a percentage of profits is going to go to the Ukrainian army, and a percentage of profits is going to go to the owner of the store, obviously, because this is his brand and that's his bread and butter. And I will take like a tiny little commission. And but the idea is that it would be like a Ukraine themed awareness, bringing really cool, fashionable piece of clothing that would be limited edition and really cool. And so that's a very cool piece of news for me, because I just brought it up because I was like, oh, this would be really cool to do. And we both started like kind of researching what we would want to do, how to do it. It would all be like handmade, locally made in Brooklyn, locally dyed with like with no artificial, like, with everything like nice and good and stuff like that. For Привіт, Ukraina, привіт. We have another Ukrainian. We know what to do as per Aravosis. And so it would be like it would be not like high end. I would say like it's mid tier, but mid tier is such a like broad. I guess high end is like Chanel, and I don't mean that we're gonna do anything like that, obviously, but as in like where it's gonna be closer to his price point than to my price point on my like site, and it would be premium quality. It would be really cool. It would be like hand dyed. It would be handmade, hand sewn, and stuff like that. And a large percentage of sales is going to go to donations to the Ukrainian army. And and I just like, I think it's a really cool idea, and I'm very excited because you guys know I love fashion, and like partaking in designing a garment is everything I've ever wanted. I've wanted to do it just at least once in my lifetime. Not everything I've ever wanted, but I wanted to do that at least once in my lifetime, and I cannot. I'm so happy that this was like kind of an idea that was super well received, and I'm not going to say anything yet because this is just like, it's in the making. It's kind of like in the back of our research and stuff like that. Heroyam Slava, and it's going to be, it's going to be really cool. We have really fun ideas. He's going to design the garment itself, and we're both going to kind of work on it and pin it in the right places to make it like an actual garment, and basically create the design of it together. And then I'm going to design the potential embroidery that's going to go on there. And also, I am going to design, me and a team, because Nastya, one of our moderators, is a graphic designer as well, and she is very, 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 very talented. And I would love for her to be involved in this project. And so a round of applause for Nastya, who has been helping me with graphic design for this channel for the longest time, and she's awesome. And and so it just sounds like a very cool idea. We're both also going to design the coloring and like just everything. So it just sounds like a really, 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 really fun thing. And it's going to help Ukraine. It's going to like bring him customers. It's just like seems like a win-win for everybody. And my dear John has agreed to film the process of designing, creation, designing, creation, and manufacturing of the garment. So there is going to be a behind the scenes on that, either on the website or on YouTube, for both, honestly. And we're probably John is also going to be the one doing the photo shoot for the garment. So it's so cool. And I'm so excited because I feel like it's going to be so great. And I get to do something I always wanted to do and help Ukraine. So yeah, I am personally quite excited. I hope that you guys are quite excited too. So yes. Oh yeah, and if you decide to purchase one for yourself, it's going to be a limited edition piece of clothing that's also going to be very comfortable. I'm just going to let you know it's going to be very comfortable. Just FYI, because this happened today, and this is completely a different course of action than I imagined, and I just think it's really cool. Ну, я розмовляю англійською мовою, тому що у мене аудиторія американська, я проживаю в Америці, але вся моя сім'я у Львові, я народилась і виросла у Львові, і ціль цього каналу, щоб пояснювати англомовній аудиторії, що відбувається в Україні, і тримати їх в курсі. І пояснювати, тобто розбивати міфи про пропаганду, про розказувати правильну історію, культуру України і давати контекст. Так що, на жаль, українською цей канал рідко розмовляє. Hi, Zolotko. Can the situation in Ukraine change if Russia doesn't change? Okay, so let's do it this way. If you have serious questions like can situation in Ukraine change if Russia doesn't change, put them into the Q&A on this. Submit them into the Q&A in this live, and then after I'm done reading the news, which I'm about to start doing right now, I'm going to answer all of these questions. Because I feel like otherwise it just becomes like a mess. And so it would be much nicer if if we did it kind of like levels, because I figured what it has become is I do like a little catch up thing for maybe like 30 minutes before the news, then the news, and then let's do Q&A after the news. So I will read out the news, and then right after I will answer all of your questions. So if you have if you have questions that you think you want more explanation on or something like that, please submit them into the Q&A and I will get to them after the news portion of the events. Do you live in Ukraine? I do not. My entire family does. I was born and raised in Ukraine and immigrated to the United States. Well, I moved to the United States to study at the age of either 16 or 17, so like 11 years ago. And I've been here ever since because first I went to boarding school, then to college, and then life happened. But my mom, my dad, my grandma, my aunt, my other grandma, everyone in my family is in Lviv. And yeah. Hi from Boston, Slava Ukraini, Heroям Slava. Hi, Pamela. Good to see you. How are you? Okay, here's the thing. Someone in Russian commented, because of the people who do not talk about this situation from different sides, hate is the hate becomes basically the hate comes out. The hate for Russians comes out of the fact that people don't talk about the situation from different sides. Now, let me elaborate on that. I will take the minutes that I have until I need to dive into the news, and I'm going to elaborate on that to this particular person. Don't eat them yet because I want them to hear it. So, first of all, I'm going to speak to you in English because, first of all, I speak both Russian and Ukrainian. My grandparents are of Russian descent. They were born in Moscow and Khabarovsky Krai, respectively. They immigrated to Ukraine in the 30s and 40s, respectively. Now, I speak fluent Russian. I choose not to because it is a language of a colonizer, and I am Ukrainian. I was born and raised in Ukraine. Most of my roots are Ukrainian and Polish. My dad is Ukrainian. My mom is Ukrainian. I am Ukrainian. I am also from Lviv, and I choose not to speak Russian because there is no freaking reason to do so for me. I have a language. I have a language of my country, and everyone in my family understands and speaks it, so everybody can get over themselves and start speaking Ukrainian. Now, Russia tried to colonize Ukraine, and the reason why there are no two sides of the story, my dear Russian unfriend, is because there is your lie that you don't understand. Because Russia is an empire. It still is an empire, and it never fell. We saw in history books that Russian Empire fell with the Romanovs, and then Bolsheviks came, and then the Soviet Union was formed, and then now it's the Russian Federation. Now that entire period in history, all of that was still Russian Empire that controlled other nations and still controls them. And what we're witnessing right now is the fall of an empire. It's just hard to grasp because we live in 2022 and it's a crazy concept, right? Now, Russia tried to colonize Ukraine multiple times unsuccessfully because Ukrainian people are resisting. And there really isn't both sides to the story when your entire freaking country would rather see Ukrainians go through a genocide and die than form a resistance to take down your dictator and admit to hundreds of years of abuse that Ukrainians have suffered at the hands of Russians. There is no two sides of the story because you call us chachli and you look at us like we're lesser than. There is no two sides of the story because you are looking at yourself as if you have never done anything wrong or tried to colonize us. There is no two sides of the story because you're not willing to admit that Russians have been okay with being the best nation in the Ukraine, in this Soviet Union and in the Russian Empire, that were taught to think that they are the best. There is no two sides to the story because you're not willing to admit that you stole our history. You're not willing to listen to us, and you're not willing to step over your ego and understand that what you've learned through Soviet propaganda, through imperial propaganda, through propaganda today is BS. And your history is colonization, enslaving, lies, and theft. There is no two sides of the story because there is one country that came into a sovereign territory and started shelling it and started killing civilians, sexually assaulting civilians, demoralizing civilians, started defacing civilians, started taking off civilians' skin with their tattoos, started engraving swastikas into their skin, put on a Z letter, and came in to say that they're going to de-Ukrainianize us. Yeah, there is no two sides to this story. There is one side to the story. Russians are a colonizer, and Ukrainians are something that they wanted to turn into a colony. Also, Slas Rus, honestly, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm sorry, but like, you came in yesterday and you were so condescending and you keep trying to patronize me. And I'm also assuming this is an assumption, but I'm gonna assume that you're a misogynist because you're talking down to me. And honestly, just literally leave. I didn't invite you here. You don't have to be here. Frankly, most Russian people, like 99.9%, are literally not welcome here because it doesn't matter how many times I knock on your wall, there is no door that's going to open. It feels like, the slots in your brain are filled with information that has been fed to you about how great you are of a nation. When people try to crumble that castle, it just isn't. It's like error, error, error. And like, I'm tired, like, I know that you're not going to do anything in order to stop the war. I know you're not going to do anything out of your comfort zone to overthrow your government. I know that since you have TikTok, you probably live outside of Russia, most likely, right? 99.9% of the time, that is true. So it's not like you're going to go back and storm the Kremlin. The only thing that you're going to probably do is yell at me and say not all Russians, which honestly, I don't need. Because as I've previously said, Russians outside of Russia who are not willing to go back to Russia to actually enforce change literally don't matter. It's the same as like foreigners talking about this, right? Except these are condescending foreigners that are trying to convince you that there are two sides of the story. Meanwhile, there is a side, literally as simple as that. Sovereign nation invaded by a freaking failed colonizer of an empire that's crumbling in front of us, at the head with Hitler #2, and there is a genocide that they're causing in a nation. What kind of second part of the story do you want? And the fact that you spend more time being like, well, there are two sides of the story than actually doing something to help Ukraine, you're literally perpetuating exactly why people don't like Russians these days. So, done? Okay? Now bye. Sorry, don't mean to be that condescending, but I'm just so freaking tired of Russian people who come in and who are like, oh my gosh, like, our side of this story is not heard. Like, girl, you're showing your side of the story. And your side of the story is literally whining about poor Russians, poor sanctions, and how you're suffering. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that now, abroad, outside of Russia, you literally have to explain to people that you're not bad because you're Russian. You're not this because you're Russian, that you've donated, that you've helped, that you've done this, that you've done that. Dude, you know what I've had to do my whole life? I've had to explain to people that I'm Ukrainian, not Russian. Then I had to spend 30 minutes of my life explaining to them what the differences between Ukraine and Russia are, because guess what? They already had a preconceived notion of stereotypes about me, thinking that I'm Russian. And I had to break these stereotypes because your nation has literally imposed them onto my nation, right? So I'm really sorry that people form an opinion about you based on just the fact that you're Russian, but without you actually having the chance to express yourself. Because you know what? That has been Ukrainian life from the very beginning. And I've been living in the United States for 11 years. And for 11 years, up until literally this year, every time somebody said, oh, you're Ukrainian, so Russian, huh? Have you found a rich husband? Have you done this? Have you done that? No, you know why? Because in Ukraine, our fathers, obrigado, our fathers teach us that we can rule the world. Our fathers teach us that we can do whatever the heck it is that we want to do as women. Not rule the world as in Ukrainians, but rule the world as women. Our fathers teach us that we should be able to do whatever we want, that we could move mountains, because our fathers are not interested in us growing up, pumping our lips full of Botox or whatever it is that you pump into your lips in Russia by in masses. Okay, they're not teaching us to get fake boobs. They're not teaching us to go and like bleach our hair to the point of no return, and they're not teaching us to go find a rich husband. You know why? Because in Ukraine, equal salaries and equal rights for men and women. Okay, in Russia, no. In Russia, unless your husband kills you, he's not going to be prosecuted for beating you up. In Ukraine, not like that. Not every woman in Ukraine knows her rights, but it's a completely different nation. And you know what? That's what I have to literally do every freaking single time when I tell somebody that I'm Ukrainian, because every single person has an opinion of me, thinking that I'm Russian. And that's how it was for 11 years. So if you're going to come here and you're going to whine about how unfair it is that people make up their opinions about you because solely because you're Russian, and because people are not telling two sides of the story, people hate Russians, like, dude, first of all, it's not my freaking job to tell your side of the story. It's not my freaking job to take over, to literally go die and overthrow your government. It's not my job to help Russians deal with the shit that their country has become. Not my job, not a Ukrainian job, not anybody's job, but your job. You want a better government, you want a better life, you want a better attitude of people to you, go freaking do something about it. Because currently we are dying trying to stop your dictator. And you're sitting on the couch and you're watching us die because you don't want to stand up, move your ass, and do something. So yeah, whine to me a little more about how unfair that is. Because you know what's unfair? It's unfair that every single Ukrainian person had to explain for freaking 60 minutes to people that they're not Russian and that there are differences between Ukraine and Russia. Because the mind of people that you met was made up. And it was made up based on stereotypes that don't even apply to my freaking nation. Because you people are colonizers. And you people make the world believe that we're not only a part of your freaking garbage nation, we're also beneath you and derivative from you. Meanwhile, you know what? We have had technological advancement, democracy, roads, freaking lights on the street, which seems to surprise you. We have washing machines, which also seems to surprise you because you seem to think that this is parts of tanks. And we have a level of life where our people have freedom of speech and freedom of democracy. And you know how we built that? We built that on our blood, consistently trying to separate ourselves from you because you people can't keep your country going, but somehow you still want to invade another one. So no, I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel bad for you that people are making up their mind about you before you even get a chance to speak, because this is what you, your nation, and your years of inaction and complicity have done to me and my people. I had to deal with all of the crappy stereotypes about Russian people that don't even freaking apply to me. Every single Ukrainian girl had to laugh it off and be like, haha, no, I'm not looking for a rich husband. I work in Wall Street and I graduated Harvard. And every single Ukrainian girl has been in this freaking situation. And every single Ukrainian guy had to explain that their dad is not part of the mafia. And that they're not here to Medicare fraud. And that they're not here to this. And they're not here to that. And you know why that is? Because of you. And because of your inaction. And because of your colonialism. And because of your imperialism. So I am fucking sorry that I am not sorry. I don't care how you feel. Taste your own medicine for a little bit. Oh my gosh, sorry. For some reason, when I start yelling, people show up. Hi, I'm Yulia. I'm born and raised in Lviv, Ukraine. I'm really freaking annoyed with Russians who are looking for sympathy. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, well, I'm not always this mean, but the situation warrants the behavior. Anyways, if you're not Russian, I'm not going to yell at you. If you're not condescending and patronizing, I'm also not going to yell at you. If you're going to try to whine here about how difficult life of a Russian person is here, then you're going to get what you came for. Так, я розумію українську мову, я народилася у Львові, виросла у Львові, вся моя родина живе у Львові, я львів'янка, я українка, я не знаю. Yeah. Anyways, well, so yes. So basically, yeah. So I'm really I'm just really freaking tired of the poor Russians, the good Russians, the freaking I don't know whatever Russians, like literally just like what can I tell you? She's like, I don't know, go cry me a river. I don't know how you feel like I don't know how that feels. I do. Except, you feel it for a reason, because those are actually things that your nation has done. And those are things that actually might apply to you because you're literally from there and your people are doing that and your people are causing a genocide and you aren't doing shit to prevent it, And I had to deal with stereotypes about you that never applied to me or my people in mass, but I still had to deal with them. So here is the difference. At least you have to spend 60 minutes breaking the opinion that people made about you based on what the mass of your people is doing. I had to spend more than 60 minutes fighting the stereotypes that people have inflicted on me based on your people that have nothing to do with my people. And then I had to convince them that, yes, I am for real. Russia and Ukraine are different. And they wouldn't believe me again because your people consistently kept being like, oh, no, I mean, it's the same. And you too, you Russians, you often go like, "Hahlushka," and you think that's funny. It's not funny. Don't you dare calling me that. Literally, not funny. Mm-mm. It's not endearing. It's not a cute little thing. Ha, Moskal Hahlushka. No, no, no. We call you Moskal because it's Muscovite, and your country is Moscovia, and you stole the name Rus from Ukraina Rus и Kyivska Rus, okay, which is us. So that's why we call you Moskal, not derogatory. You call us Khokhly because of Cossack fringes or bangs. They had these like bangs. They're called osolebets. And they called it Khokhly because, roosters. Roosters have that. That's their thing. That's derogatory because it's a nickname given based on traits, okay? It's a derogatory nickname. So when Russian people especially try to tell me that, like, oh, you call us Moskali, that's why we call you Khokhly. No, bitches. You call us Khokhly because you're trying to be mean, and it's a mockery. It's a mockery of what a traditional Cossack looks like. We call you Moskali because we're pointing out the fact that you stole our freaking history and your actual name is Moscovites. Okay? So this is not derogatory. This is not a mockery. This is legitimately your actual name. Done? Period? Any more arguments? Any Russian person wants to... Oh, блядь. I'm sorry. I'm cursing so much today because holy... you know what? Иди нахуй. Честно, тебя ничего не спасет. Иди заработай свои 5 рублей, иди полежи задницу Путину, иди вон расскажи ему, какой ты классный гражданин, иди вон, я не знаю, попользуйся карточкой МИР, иди вон попробуй купить свою туалетную бумагу, которую вы из чего сейчас делаете? Из камня? Удачи. Вот и иди туда, куда и русский военный корабль. На дно, на днище. Только днище – это твоя страна, поэтому тебе идти далеко не нужно. Anyways, sorry, just had to respond really quick to a Russian troll. I feel like, yes, I'm not even going to bother translating it, but it's just a very, very long, impolite way of telling somebody to go F themselves. A very elaborate way, I would say. So yeah. Hi guys, how are you? Welcome to all of the Ukrainian people. Привіт, приємно познайомитись. Мене звати Юлія, я зі Львова. Я зазвичай не настільки противна, але просто така ситуація, в якій так потрібно. Hi Jason, good to see you. Happy that you're here. Hi Carol, yes, my day is very lovely. Thank you very much. I know of Silicon Valley, but I haven't seen it. Also, hello everybody on YouTube. Hello everybody who is from Ukraine, who is new. Hello. I'm really happy to see you here. Thank you for the panda. The panda looks like my dog. You will meet her in a little bit. Her name is Sini, and she's Ukrainian too. She also does some cool tricks. Actually, you know what? We're gonna do our daily Sini hello right now because all of the Ukrainian people are gonna go to bed by the time that I'm gonna bring out Cine. So we're gonna do a pre-news Cine sighting. So I have a dog. It's a French bulldog. She does this really cool thing, and I'm gonna show you what she does. Синя, Синя, іди сюди, моє чудо. Юдо рибакит, hello. Come on. Синюша, come on. Okay, Sin. Wait. Слава Україні. Слава нації. Пиздець Російській Федерації. Молодець. Це Синя, вона з Миколаєва. І вона краще розуміє ситуацію, ніж росіяни. А вони люди, а це собака. Here. I'm sorry for waking you up. But I had to introduce you. I had to introduce you. Okay? Okay? Okay. Good girl. Well, I think Cindy likes it at this point because Cindy's like, yes, I will do it. Treats. Yeah? You good? Okay, come here. I awoke the creature from her nap. Нет, я нахожусь в Америке в последние 11 лет. Моя семья находится в Украине, во Львове. Я из Львова, и я там родилась и выросла, и жила там до 17 лет. Или до 16, не помню. Иди, дитину. Ну, как бы моя вся сім'я в плані мама, папа, дедушка, бабушка, всі живуть во Львові. Але я, до речі, я перепрошую російськомовні українці, але я намагаюся не розмовляти російською мовою, тому я не хочу вас образити, але я в загальному намагаюся робити effort не розмовляти російською. Я навіть зі своєю мамою, з якою я все життя розмовляла російською мовою, у мене така ситуація. I'm sorry, guys, let me just explain something really quick to all the Ukrainians that are new here. Моя мама розмовляє російською, мій тато розмовляє українською, моєї мами коріння російське по бабці з дідусем. В мого тата, він львівський бандерівець. І якби я з ним розмовляю все життя українською, і з друзями, і в школі, і всюди, але з мамою все життя розмовляла російською мовою. Але наразі навіть моя мама і ми з нею намагаємося, точніше вона намагається, мені намагатись нема чого, розмовляти зі мною українською мовою. І тому ми buongiorno, come va? But yes, so yeah, that's what it is. Я намагаюся не говорити російською, тому що я не бачу змісту. А ще тому, що Арестович бляха настільки дістав зі своїми ідіотизмами, що я не знаю, мене тепер російська мова, мене він і російська мова асоціюється з цим противним голосом, який розмовляє як Янукович на українській мові, просто піздець, перепрошую. Привіт, Атланта. В Україні була останнього разу в 2015 році, і не тому, що я не хотіла їхати в Україну, тому що я досі застрягла в процесі імміграції. Я зараз чекаю, мають документи бути з дня на день. Документи на переїзд. Тобто в мене документи є, просто я не можу виїжджати наразі з країни. Okay, so someone asked how many languages I speak. I speak 6. Then the good morning from Italy is buongiorno. Mille grazie. Come va? Mi piace Italia molto. Io parlo italiano ma solo un po' e mia grammatica è molto brutta. ma scusi. Ma mio papà è pazzo d'Italia, anche io. E mi piace la lingua molto. Okay, alrighty. So. Are we ready to dive into the news? Oh, just give up. We all suffering because of you. No, we're all suffering because of Russians, not because of me and not because of Ukrainians. It's so funny, It's like if somebody sexually assaults somebody, are you gonna blame the victim? Are you? Like, what's wrong with you? You weird, weird creature. God, these Russians. Um, well, ну тебе удобнее говорить на русском, потому что твой язык и твою культуру подавляет ваш диктаторский президент. И твой язык и твою культуру точно так же подавляет Россия. So it's one of those things where like full of I don't understand why you're advocating for it because uh because I genuinely don't understand why you're advocating for Russian because it's a policy of Russification, and the reason why you speak Russian in Belarus and the reason why you think that Russian is more convenient for you to use as a language is literally because your culture has been being erased by Russia and then by your dictator president who doesn't want who thinks that Belarusian identity should be erased. So I don't know why you would be saying that, but personally, I'm Ukrainian, I have my language. Yeah. In Ukraine, they also speak Russian, unfortunately, because of the policy of Russification that has been imposed in Ukraine for the last 300 years at least. And I'm very sorry for you if you think that that's okay. And I'm very sorry for you if you don't think that you should have your own culture and you have your own Belarusian language and that you would be speaking Belarusian if it wasn't for Russification from within and from without your country. But I'm not going to let that happen to my country. I'm Ukrainian. I know Ukrainian. I speak Ukrainian. And there is no freaking reason for me to speak Russian because why? My entire family understands Ukrainian. They all lived in Ukraine their whole life. What the fuck is the reason for me to speak Russian? Absolutely none. So, not going to. Yeah, I understand the language. But if you understand Ukrainian, if you can also speak Ukrainian, then what's the point of me speaking Russian to you? None. Oh, I love all of these trolls that are. I love all of the trolls that are pretending to be Ukrainian. That's so fun. Yes, Stihi Yesenina, good for you. Well, maybe you should be, if you're not a Russian troll and you're a Ukrainian, if you're reading Stihi Yesenina, maybe you should start reading Franco, maybe you should start reading Lesia Ukrainka, maybe Vasil Stus, maybe you should start reading Taras Shevchenko, maybe you should, I don't know, read Sosura. Maybe you should just, read Ukrainians because, we have enough of our own literature. You don't need to write poems about Russian literature. Well, then, I don't know. Если тебе подходит, то what can I tell you? If you're not happy about your own culture, if you don't like your own culture, I feel really sad for you. Then, well, go ahead to Russia and maybe тебе зайдет. Так, я украинка из Львова. Тебе не заходят украинские поэты, тебе не заходит украинская культура, пожалуйста, уезжай. Может, тебе Россия больше зайдет. В чем проблема? Anyways, okay, so someone asked me if I do themed lives. I do news every evening, and that's what happens, but normally I take 30 minutes. Then I take 30 minutes to kind of catch up, but today, there were some Russian trolls that I kind of got very angry over, and to this Ukrainian person who says, well, no, I love Ukraine, but I don't like Ukrainian poets and I like a couple of Ukrainian songs. Well, then if you like Ukraine and if you want Ukraine to stay Ukrainian, not be a slave to Russia and keep our independence and keep all of this stuff, then maybe you should step over the fact that you don't like Ukrainian literature and you should still promote it and you should still you should still like it and you should still love it and you should still read it and you should still know it. Because at the end of the day, you can like French poets, you can like German poets, you can speak Russian for all you want. I don't want to. That's all I was saying. I don't want to speak Russian. And you don't need to. If you know Ukrainian, you literally don't need to. It's not about what you like. It's not about что тебе заходит или что тебе не заходит. It's about the fact that there is a country that speaks that language with that literature who's trying to come and invade your country, erase your language, your culture, and your literature. So that's when you shut the F up, you take a back seat, and you step over the ego. Gosh, I'm not imposing Ukrainian onto you. I'm just saying that you saying that you don't like Ukrainian poets and you prefer Russian poets and you like them more is literally what has always been Russification and what has been erasing our culture and what has been erasing our language. I do want it gone. Please block it. And like honestly, if you're Ukrainian and that's your mindset, that well, you're part of the reason why we ended up in this situation. Okay. Dmitry Chilov is definitely not Ukrainian. It smells like a Russian bot to me, honestly. Also, thing is, Ukrainian people, for the most part, never advocate for Russian. Even like people who spoke Russian will still advocate for Ukrainian now because they understand the importance of it. So it's like, usually these are bots because honestly, like it doesn't even speak Ukrainian. And the thing is that even if you grow up in a Russian speaking area of Ukraine, you you learned Ukrainian in school. So you would be able to respond to me in Ukrainian. That thing was not. And it was not because it's a Russian bot. Okay. Avdiivka is without water, gas, and electricity. The city is under constant fire from the Russian military. Despite everything, people are hiding in the basements. The elderly, adults, and even children. Residents believe that everything will end soon, so do not evacuate. Some cannot leave old parents. Some do not want to leave animals. Meanwhile, Russian invaders turn the prosperous city into ruins. Avdiivka. This is what it looks like.
Так, здесь у нас находятся взрослые. Вот у нас можете посмотреть. Девочки наши молодые, дедушки. Вот. Здесь тоже. Тут тусовка по полной. Ну, здесь у нас игровая, скажем так.
В Украине тоже не ненавидели русских, пока русские не пришли нас убивать. И люди из ДНР и ЛНР это сепаратисты, а не украинцы. Украинцы давно оттуда уехали. Уехали, когда Украина начала захватывать Россия. Потому что никто не хотел жить при этом режиме. Guys, can you please take there is that Belarusian person who I'm not even sure is Belarusian. Люди из ДНР, ЛНР. First of all, DNR and LNR is not a real entity, okay? DNR and LNR is a made-up quasi-republic made up by Russia in order to justify their invasion. People in DNR and LNR, up until Russians came in and started faking people's need to be protected based on their Russian language. Here's the thing. Nobody in Ukraine hated Russians, okay? Nobody did until they came in and started bombing us and started literally destroying us and started killing us. No one in Ukraine hated Russians. It's not like, oh, Ukraine hated Russians and DNR and LNR did not. No one in Ukraine hated Russians, even after years and years and years and years of abuse, okay? But now I feel like we're pretty justified in hating them because A, they came in, they invaded, and they started killing us, and they started literally defacing our country and leveling it with the ground. And then their people, instead of being like, oh my God, how can we do that? They're just like, yeah, whatever. As long as we don't have to be in Avtovaziki. Автовазики are those like cars that they put you in when they bring you to a detention center in Russia. So it's like, yeah, no, I'm sorry. And also people in LNR and people in DNR are not Ukrainian because those are separatists hired by Russia. DNR is not a real place. LNR is not a real place. The only time that you can call them DNR and LNR is when you're referring to terrorists from Russia. All of the other times you call them Ordlo. Just окремі регіони Донецької і Луганської областей. So, separate regions of Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast. And if you want to call them properly, then you would say Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast, because those are real places and they're in Ukraine. They're just temporarily occupied by DNR and LNR terrorists. Not the DNR and LNR as in actual regions, because those places are made up by the terrorists, you know? Anyways. Female activists painted a bloody letter Z with their naked bodies. The anti-war action Imperialist Greatness, which was held in Berlin, was designed to remind people that the war unleashed by Russia is still as brutal and horrifying as the first day, as much as the 10th day, as much as any other day. Here is what that looked like. This is paint. In Saudi Arabia, there was a battle of attitudes between the world boxing champion, undefeated Ukrainian Alexander Usyk, and his British opponent, Anthony Joshua. Their first fight was named the main event of boxing in 2021 by The Ring. On September 25th, Usyk won the fight of the opponent's home turf in London by unanimous decision of the judges. The rematch will take place on August 20th in Jeddah. Almost a third of Ukraine's infrastructure is destroyed. Infrastructure Minister Alexander Kubrakov in an interview with French Le Monde. According to the minister, 20% to 30%. 20% of Ukraine's infrastructure has been destroyed as a result of the Russian invasion. In nearly 4 months of the war, roads, bridges, ports, railroads, and airports have been damaged. Kubrakov estimates the losses at more than 100 billion. According to him, Mariupol, Kharkiv, Chernihiv, Severodonetsk, and Lysychansk suffered the most damage. Heroyam slava. Hello, Yulia. Do you remember my first info to you? I am from Kyiv. Live 33 in US, live 33 in USA. Sam, no, I'm sorry. Could you remind me, please, what you were talking about? And I want to get into this thing about infrastructure a little bit deeper. Let me go turn on the light behind me because I need more lights in my apartment, specifically in this room, because it's just like I don't have overhead lights and I'm literally like, this is hurting my eyes. And right now lights are not within something that I should be buying, but I have this one light that kind of helps, so I'm going to go turn it on. 1 second. Привіт. Or just one living room light. Well, that one living room light is really good, actually. Like, it's so good, honestly. If you guys are looking for lights, I told you, like, that's one of the best ones. At some point, I'm gonna get one of those for my room as well, honestly, especially for doing these because it's so good. Okay, but so basically, Russia is trying to target Ukrainian infrastructure. and they're trying to target our oil rigs. They're trying to target our gas, and they're trying to target our basically all of our export. They're trying to target all of our export in order to ruin our GDP, because obviously they can't win militarily, but they can win. But they can win. Not that they can, but they're trying to win in other ways, right? And one of the ways that they can try to disrupt us is they can try to disrupt our economy. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to completely destroy our economy. So that way, even if we're winning the war, it's going to be really, 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 really hard for us to sustain ourselves, even with all of the international help. Because, no, guys, that guy, Jaika VS, whatever, I think they're Ukrainian. I also thought it was weird, but I think that Kat responded that I'm Ukrainian, and they put 2 pluses, and in Ukraine, that's like a good thing. So, and I've only ever seen Ukrainians do that, so maybe bring them back, please. I speak English because I am here to tell English-speaking audience about what is going on in Ukraine. But so yeah, Tomatov asked, but then that person put 2 like plus signs, which is a very Ukrainian thing to do. So maybe consider bringing them back and giving them a second chance, and then if they do something weird, then we can boot them again. I know. I don't know why, but I mean, like, just, give them a chance. I think they might be Ukrainian. They might just, Thank you, Australia. But so yes, I speak to an English-speaking audience, and I'm trying to break Russian propaganda. I'm trying to explain Ukrainian history from the correct perspective. I'm trying to give context to what's happening. So there is that. Thank you, Romania. But so yes, so basically Russia is trying to target our economy because they understand that if they destroy our economy, it's going to be significantly harder for us to exist, even if we're winning, even if we're getting all of the military help, because, well, the country is going to be crumbling. And also, if we don't have an economy, we can't sustain our soldiers. So that's what they're trying to do. And now what Ukraine is trying to do is, since Russia has destroyed every single oil rig we had, we are now destroying Russia's oil rigs. Because, well, they think that, that's not illegal. That's, thank you. Let's keep buying Ukrainian stuff, got it. Well, that's not where I was going with it, but what I'm trying to say is that it's just, we are trying to strike back because, well, if Russians think that we're not going to strike back because we don't want to commit war crimes, well, this is not a war crime. That's just what it is, like destroying their oil rigs and destroying their military equipment, not a war crime. This is exactly, it's a special hydrocarbon operation. Exactly. Thank you, India. Or rather, see? Okay. The trashed and stolen fire station at the Hostomel airfield. On February 24th, firefighters wanted to evacuate together with the equipment. Unfortunately, not everyone was lucky. The chief of the unit is still missing, and 2 soldiers were seriously injured but managed to escape. The guys were trying to get a fire truck out, but a Russian helicopter flew at them. The invaders seized the building on February 24th. They set up one of their bases here. They put their firing points in the window and on the roof, and the invaders occupied the rooms. Russia turned the building into an entire garbage dump. Virtually everything that could be broken or stolen from the building was destroyed and stolen. Packages of packed ratios, personal belongings, and military and Russian Guard equipment are still scattered around the building. It seems that people with helmets and gas canisters were going to disperse rallies at the airfield. During the occupation, glorious Russians, formidable Kadyrovites, and even Buryats were here. Yeah. Yeah, it was formidable. Oh. Okay. At least 280 people. Oh. At least 280 people were killed in Afghanistan as a result of a powerful earthquake. More than 600 were injured in varying degrees of severity. This is not about Ukraine, but this is world news today in either way. According to the US Geological Survey, the quake struck about 44 kilometers from the town of Khost near the Pakistani border at a depth of 51 kilometers. Most of the dead are in Paktika province. Victims are also in Khost city and Nangarhar province. Authorities report that at least 100 homes have been destroyed. Works in elimination of the consequences of natural disaster are proceeding. The earthquake was also felt in neighboring Pakistan. However, there were no reports of damage or casualties from there. А, боже мой. А, тебе вот делать нечего, правда? Ah, yeah. Your thing says my life is shit. That's so sweet. I'm sure it is. Okay. Bye. Україна понад усе. Вам також дуже дякую. So this is how Snake Island looks after it was hit by the Ukrainian armed forces. Maxmar satellite images show traces of the Ukrainian armed forces strikes on the Panzer S-1 complex on Snake Island, the radar station, and the invaders' vehicles. Nope. Yeah, Snake Island. Oh, hi, Peter. Snake Island is definitely going to be a place. Who is. Okay, well, I'm going to do this for 2 seconds and then. Hello.
Yo, who do you support in the Ukraine-Russia?
That seems like a little bit of a weird question, provided that I have blue and yellow hearts in my stream name, and also provided that my literal thing is Yulia and I'm Ukrainian, and the fact that I'm talking about Ukrainian news. Like, what do you think?
All right, so I got a good thing for you to reconsider. So obviously Russia is like a war criminal and stuff like that, and all that stuff. But then you know how they support Israel killing the innocent Palestinians, right?
Sure.
You know that? No, seriously, you know that?
I'm trying to find a point here. I also, you sound like you are under 17 years of age, which means that I should not be talking to you legally. So
legally?
Yeah.
It's not illegal to talk to someone.
Oh, no. Online, it is not. You're not you're literally not supposed to. So if you're under 17 years of age, I'm actually going to stop this conversation. And also, if you don't have a point to what you're saying, I am too going to stop this conversation. I'm really, really, really tired of people trying to deflect to Israel and Palestine.
Say, fuck Ukraine.
Well, I'm gonna say goodbye.
Alright, suck my dick. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm a man.
Yeah, could we? Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Wow. I'm a man. Yeah. Okay, boy. I hope your mother is going to be able to hear this recording. And I hope your mom is able to hear this. Actually, Squirrel, could you see? Squirrel, are you here? You know what I want to do with kids like that? I want to send videos like that to, I want to send these portions to their moms. And I just want their parents to know what they're doing on the internet. So, Squirrel, if you're here and you can check out this kid and see if we could potentially find his parents on the internet, if I could DM them this bit and just be like, hi, as long as you're aware this is what your child spends time doing. Just FYI. No, I'm not trying to dox children. I'm just like saying that this is kind of like I hope that the parents of this kid know. Like, one of the reasons why I said I'm not going to be talking to the person if they're under 17 years of age, because I don't want to have the responsibility over that. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, I feel like their parents, provided that they are minor, should know what they're doing on the internet. So yeah. That's all. I'm not trying to dox children. It's a child. It's just that, like, it probably needs to talk to their parents. Yeah. No, I'm not trying to bully a kid by any means. Thank you, Jason. I really do appreciate the concern. It's just that, like, it's clearly a kid, and, like, the fact that that's their behavior on the internet, I feel like needs to be addressed by their parents, or just in general, their parents should probably be aware of that happening. That's all. Not to dox the kid, or not to be like, let's bully this kid. I just really, there would be like a single message being like, hello, I just want to let you know, this is your child. This is an excerpt of this. Please be aware. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Enjoy your night. Okay. Turkey says it has made progress with Russia on Ukrainian grain exports. Turkey's defense ministry said the meeting was held in a constructive and very positive atmosphere, and participants said they reached an understanding to hold quadrilateral talks involving Ukraine and the United Nations to be held in the coming weeks. Russia and Turkey also discussed the removal of commercial vessels with cargo from blocked Ukrainian ports and the safe return of Turkish planes at Boryspil airport. The Turkish side also noted that the negotiations resulted in the withdrawal of the Turkish ship, the Azov Concorde, from the port of Russian-occupied Mariupol, as already reported by Russian media. There is someone else who is asking to be. There's someone else who's trying to be a guest. I'm sorry. I need to read the news, and then if you're not a child, if you're not a Russian troll, if you're not trying to argue, because I really, like, at this point, like, I can't spend any more time doing that. Then after I'm done reading the news, I will gladly put you into the guest box, and I will gladly interact with you, and I will gladly speak. But for now, I really need to, like, continue doing this, because we're never going to get through the news. Thank you for your understanding. The armed forces of Ukraine have stopped the occupying forces' offensive towards Molodizhne and Katarynivka in Donetsk region. This was reported by the Speaker of the Ministry of Defense, Alexander Motuzyanek, during a briefing. Also, according to him, the AFU repulsed an assault by the enemy in the direction of Mironivka, Semihiria. In addition, Severodonetsk remains the hottest point. The enemy is working on resuming an offensive in the direction of Izum and Sloviansk. The invaders are actively conducting reconnaissance. The entire oil refining sector of Ukraine is not working now. The chairman of the board Naftogaz of Ukraine, Yuri Vitrenko, during a press conference. And oil refining in Ukraine now, because of the massive attacks of the aggressor, does not work. And it is difficult to ensure the logistics of oil products to the Ukrainian market, due to which there is a deficit, said Vitrenko. This is what I was talking about with Russia trying to basically diminish and destroy our Oh, I see. 1 second. Okay, sorry. There is so Sam, I am going to, I didn't know that was you, but I am going to react to it gladly, but once I am done reading the news, because it's just been an hour and 14 minutes into the stream, and I feel like most of the time was spent either arguing with trolls, which is totally on me, but I just need to get through the news. And if you're still here and still want to come on, then I will gladly accept you after the news portion is done. Yes, our economy. Thank you. 6 children wounded as a result of yesterday's shelling of Chasovy Yar, Donetsk region. The The Russians struck the beach at Lake Zolota Rybka within the city limits. According to preliminary information, they used cluster shells. A total of 1 person was killed and 11 were wounded as a result of the shelling. Russian forces conducted several successful offensives southeast of Severodonetsk. They may threaten Lysychansk from the right bank of the Donetsk River in the coming days, avoiding forcing the river, researchers from the Institute for the Study of War, USA, report. The researchers also record that the Russians are most likely to have recaptured the eastern bank of the Ingulets River near the border of Kherson and Mykolaiv regions. There used to be a bridgehead of the AFU, which was left after the recent counterattack. Dale Samuel, naval attaché at the U.S. Embassy in Moscow, showed the Russian swastika a fuck. Dale Samuel, cycling through the Russian capital, stopped at a pole with the letter Z and made a photo of himself giving the symbol of the invasion a middle finger. When he realized he was being filmed, he got in his car and showed the middle finger to the camera. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova confirmed the incident. 324 children killed as a result of Russian... Oh, sorry. Oh, gosh. 324 children killed as a result of Russian armed aggression in Ukraine. British intelligence update. Heavy shelling continues as Russia pushes to envelope the Severodonetsk area via Izum in the north and Popasna in the south. Russia is highly likely preparing to attempt to deploy a large number of reserve units to the Donbas. The Russian authorities have not released the overall number of military casualties in Ukraine since 25th of March. However, the self-declared Donetsk People's Republic publishes casualty figures for DPR forces. As of 16th of June, the DPR acknowledged 2,128 military personnel killed in action and 8,897 wounded since the start of 2022. The DPR casualty rate is equivalent to around 55% of its original force, which highlights the extraordinary attrition Russian and pro-Russian forces are suffering in the Donbas. Я не розмовляю на російській мові по вибору, і російська мова це не є по-моєму. Це може по-вашому, але це не є по-моєму. On both sides, the ability to generate and deploy reserve units to the front is likely becoming increasingly critical to the outcome of the war. Я є українкою, я розмовляю українською мовою. Цей канал направлений на англомовну аудиторію, щоб вони розуміли, що відбувається в Україні і що Росія коїть на території України. Якщо ви хочете по-русски, то вам, напевно, не інший канал. Я можу з вами розмовляти українською час від часу, але це не є ціль цього каналу. Але по-русски це не по-моєму. Chief Nazi hunter will investigate war crimes of the Russian army in Ukraine. During a visit to Kyiv, U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland said that a special group headed by Eli Rosenbaum had already been created for this purpose. On his account, more than 100 war criminals of the Third Reich were exposed. На жаль, це не є, я не можу говорити українською, тому що більшість моєї аудиторії є англомовна, і це робиться для того, щоб іноземці розуміли, що відбувається в Україні. The 45th Artillery Brigade of the AFU is denazifying the invaders, and here's the video. I mean, it's clearly a joke, but not really. Oh, I want to bring something up actually, because I'm seeing this come up in the comments, and I think that I need to bring it up, and I see why people or Russians are using this against Ukrainians. So, There are two things that foreigners misinterpret or mistranslate, or I guess understand out of context. There are two expressions. One is Ukraine above everything, not everyone, not every nation, above everything for a Ukrainian person. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. As in, like, I want to address that. There are two expressions in Ukrainian that are being mistranslated due to language difficulties and language barrier, and also because Russian trolls love to use it against us. So there is Ukraine above everything, not above everyone. I know that there was Deutschland über alles. I know that that was a Yahtzee slogan, and I know that that meant, sir, I'm not telling you that you are saying something wrong. I am however, explaining this to the audience because I realized that there was something going on in the comments about it, and I've never actually addressed it. So I don't understand why you're being so mad and so defensive. Like, nobody is telling you that you were saying something wrong. I didn't even see what you were saying. God, please calm down. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that basically there was this Yahtzee thing. And Yahtzees used to say Deutschland über alles, which means Germany above everyone and everything. Germany above all is what it means, über alles, right? Now, Україна понад усе means that Ukraine is above everything for a Ukrainian citizen. As in, like, this is the most important thing to us. Ukraine is the most important thing to us. It's not that Ukraine should be above everybody. It's not that Ukraine should be above everything. It's not that Ukraine should be above all. It's that Ukraine should be like the most important thing to a Ukrainian, right? That's basically what it is. But that's an incorrect translation. The incorrect in the correct translation would be Ukraine above everything, because not above all and not above everyone. It's Ukraine above everything for a Ukrainian person. So this is different. And then there is another one is Все буде Україна, which means everything is going to be Ukraine, right? And Russians are like, this is crazy, right? But this is not what that means. Everything is going to be Ukraine means everything is going to be okay. It's like, все буде okay, все буде Україна. So like we took the everything is going to be okay and we made it everything is going to be Ukraine. It's just like, it's like you're like, everything's going to be good. Everything's going to be like fine. Everything's going to be all right. So yeah, that's not yeah, everything will be Ukraine, as in like, everything's going to be a-okay, everything's going to be Gucci, when people say it's going to be Gucci, so it's like, it's going to be Ukraine, as in like, it's going to be good, that's where it is from. Liza. I'm assuming you're either a Russian or a Russian troll if you're calling it narcissistic. Sorry, I'm just like, I am a little reactionary today because I've had to deal with more trolls than I can count on my fingers. So if I called you a troll or a Russian or something like that, or I misunderstood what you were saying, I'm sorry. I'm just like, I'm a little tired. Better would be, it will still be Ukraine in the end. Yes, exactly. It'll still be Ukraine in the end. Yes, great. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Okay. G7 Marshall Plan for Ukraine. Yes. Okay, so let's continue because there is a lot more stuff to go over. A few days before the historic decision of the European Union and Ukraine in Amsterdam, a charity telethon Embrace Ukraine, Striving Together took place. I'm sure that no one has any doubts that Ukraine should get a positive decision. We deserve it. And we deserve not only our courage and struggle for freedom. I'm grateful to everyone who supports us. Thank you for this sincerity, Amsterdam, wrote Volodymyr Zelensky. A map of the situation in eastern Ukraine from European war experts. According to them, the invaders have succeeded in Severodonetsk and now control approximately 85% of the city. Also, the Russian army has most likely captured Pidlisne and Myrna Dolina south of Lysychansk. Also, the Ukrainian troops who remained in the cauldron north of Popasna now have a maximum 7-kilometer gap through which they can withdraw. For their part, the Ukrainian armed forces carried out an offensive on Pavlivka in the Donetsk region from the northeast. Some reports claim that the invaders have retreated to Yehorivka. Also, to Sam on YouTube, as I've mentioned previously, in order to be able to get through the news in a timely fashion, I'm not going to be accepting guest requests during the news time anymore. That was my mistake, my bad, and I'm going to do guest requests after after I'm done with reading the news. Yes, I am I am watching the live stream, but at the same time, I do, like as I said a couple of times, I'm trying to get through the news before I can answer the questions or do guest speakers. Ukrainian photographer Max Levin and the military officer who accompanied him, Oleksiy Chernyshev, were executed cold-bloodedly by Russian troops, experts conclude. Representatives of Reporters Without Borders, RSF, have found evidence that Levin and Chernyshev were executed after interrogation and torture on March 13th, 2022, the day they disappeared. Investigators speculate that Levin was probably killed with 1 or 2 shots at close range, while Chernyshev may have been buried alive. Reporters Without Borders speculate that Levin and Chernyshev may have been killed by the military of the 106th Airborne Division or by Russian Special Forces. Incredibly beautiful video taken with a copter in the village of Demidov, 40 kilometers from Kyiv, which was partially flooded at the beginning of the full-scale Russian invasion. To prevent Russian equipment from advancing in that direction towards the capital, a dam in the neighboring village of Kazarovichi was blown up. The gushing water wetted the ground. The black earth and peat bogs immediately softened, which stopped the invaders from trying to move equipment through Demidov to Hostomel. Although the flood caused a lot of trouble, the locals are proud that they were able to hold off the enemy. Water was coming up to the houses and people's cellars were flooded. Here is what that looked like. Hi, Rebecca. Because it's important that other people who are not Russian bots do not believe their narrative, and it's important to fight Russian propaganda.
Північний напрямок. Якщо ви зараз побачите, то людей, які заходять по грибах, частина вулиці була повністю виїхана. Зараз, якщо ви чуєте, на фоні викачують цю воду, по суті, значно сильно знизило рівень цієї води, і в принципі люди тепер можуть обробляти ці городи. Така кількість набігла десь за 1,5 місяця, можливо. Російські землі – це чорнозем і Овсянки. І вже на самому початку тільки відкрили шлюзи, точніше тільки шлюз підірвали, впав вниз. Підсводоцький плав, вона вже, в принципі, унеможливила пересування російських військ по цій території. Вони просто тут ходили. Я пробув тут десь 2 тижні. І під час окупації потім евакуювали. Після 1,5 місяця сюди фотографії, що нам вже до моря. Всі евакуювали російські війська. Вони в селі не заїжджали, але вони переважно були під переїздом. Тому що, по-перше, тут неподалік були наші позиції ЗСУ. І значить, десь більше 4 тижнів, більше ніж, як сказати. Ну, ситуація доволі була якщо я не можливо було навіть
Привіт. At night, transported to Belarus a new batch of missile launchers for the S-300 SAM system. Can you believe Russian propaganda is in Latin America? Yeah, I can, honestly. Russia is number one probably in the world in how they treat their propaganda. And honestly, I'm not surprised. And I know that Russia needs Latin America on their side as well. So I am pretty sure I'm not pretty sure. I am not surprised that they would be putting Russian propaganda into everywhere that they can. Every year on June 22nd, we commemorate everyone who died in World War II. We honor the memory of millions of lost lives and crippled destinies. This should not happen again, but evil has returned. On February 24th, the invaders came to our land and we're fighting for a new victory. And no enemy will break our will. We remember the victims of World War II. We believe in good, peace, and justice. And here's a series of photos that Zelensky published. One second, sorry. One dead and 7 wounded. Russians fired 7 rockets at Mykolaiv. 5 multi-story buildings were damaged. Windows of the houses were broken from the debris and as a result of the blast wave. The front door of the entrance hall was damaged. Also, 8 private houses were partially destroyed, said the mayor of Mykolaiv, Alexander Sienkiewicz. Let me just do something really quick. I'm going to go to notifications and I'm going to turn off Instagram notifications on my iPad because this is not like that. Okay, there we go. Also, 8 private houses were partially destroyed, said the mayor of Mykolaiv, Alexander Sienkiewicz. As a result of the shelling, dry grass burned in 2 areas. The fire, on a total area of 260 square meters, was extinguished by the rescuers of the State Emergency Service. Another fire occurred on the territory of Another fire occurred in the territory of a private enterprise where sunflower oil was stored. Hi, Ireland froze Russian assets worth 1.72 billion euros due to sanctions. These assets are linked to sanctioned Russian individuals and entities since February 2022. Back in April, the amount of frozen assets was only 839 million euros. Here's the thing. There is a person on TikTok, and there is the same person on YouTube, and they consistently keep saying that I should accept them onto the live stream as a guest speaker. And when I said that I'm not going to do that until the news stream is over, they were basically trying to tell me that I care more about trolls. But you always paying attention to Russian bots and trolls. Why? Well, because it's important to counteract propaganda. Another thing is, then I basically said, well, and then they were keeping on with that narrative. And then one of my moderators, Squirrel, said that they're about to get kicked out because it's my space and I can do with it what I want. And currently they're picking a fight on YouTube. So I'm going to say, please block them. This is not a supporter. This is a person who is a narcissist and thinks the world revolves around them, or a troll. And please block them on TikTok too. I don't know what their name is, but I think it was something like, it was in my guest requests. So it should be something similar to what it was on TikTok. I know it was three words. Belarus has placed wooden dummies of tanks on the border with Ukraine. In this way, Belarus demonstrates its presence on the border with Ukraine, said the Speaker of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Alexander Motuzyanek. According to him, the combat readiness of the armed forces of Belarus is being checked preliminarily until June 25th. In addition, the threat of missile and airstrikes against Ukraine from the territory of Belarus remains. A shot blackboard in a Kharkiv school. It now forever says February 23rd. So this is what it is. This is what was written on the board, and it was shot through the next day. So now it forever says February 23rd as the date on the blackboard. A voucher from the United States accelerated the delivery of Slovenian infantry fighting vehicles from the armed forces of Ukraine. For the armed forces of Ukraine. Ponies, dogs, cats, ducks, deer, rabbits. All these are rescued animals from enemy fire. Our warriors of light military of the armed forces of Ukraine and rescuers, emergency SES, are planning full-fledged liberation operations and evacuating animals from the front. Actions speak louder than words. Videos of unpacking of the new American self-propelled gun M109 Paladin are circulating on the network. As reported, this heavy military equipment is already in Ukraine. We're waiting for official confirmation. Recall that the appearance of the German Panzerhaubitze 2000 in the ranks of the armed forces of Ukraine was announced earlier, together with American samples. This is already the 7th type of 155mm guns in the Ukrainian army. Ukraine is when volunteers take a rocket launcher from a downed Russian helicopter Ka-52 and install it on the Mitsubishi L200. This is the homemade MLRS. Zelensky held telephone conversations with the Prime Minister of Sweden, Estonia, and the Czech Republic. He thanked for the support of Ukraine, discussed the upcoming NATO summit, and the post-war reconstruction of the country. I want Ukrainians to live in freedom and democracy, Volodymyr Klitschko in an address to EU politicians and citizens on the eve of the summit. Volodymyr Klitschko called on the leaders of European countries to support Ukraine and grant the status of a candidate for EU membership. Prove by your actions your readiness to defend your own values, which Ukraine is already defending today, he said in his video message. Today, only 2,000 kilometers separate two worlds. European, where freedom and democracy are the main values, and medieval Russia, where freedom and democracy are the main enemies. The president of the European Commission said that Ukrainians are ready to die for the European perspective. I want Ukrainians to live in the freedom and democracy. We have been defending our rights to be part of Europe every day for 8 years. He noted that Ukrainians are hardworking, diligent, and are at the forefront of digitalization. Ukraine is not only a shield of Europe, but also a great opportunity for prosperity and the future of the EU, summed up Volodymyr Klitschko. Wait. Exclusive, unique footage of helicopter raids on Azovstal. More than 40 minutes of material was published online about how Ukrainian helicopters flew to the territory of the blocked Azovstal plant in Mariupol in the spring. Video from the first person and evidence of direct participants in the special operation. This has never happened before. It looks like a Hollywood movie, but this is the real work of our military. Watch on YouTube. So this is 40 minutes. I'm not going to show you all of the 40 minutes. I am going to put from now on, when I mention something in YouTube, like a link, a store, whatever it is, I'm going to link them in the description of the video underneath. So when you guys go back to the live to watch it, rewatch it, whatever, you can find all of the information underneath in the link. So I am going to put this YouTube video as a link in my YouTube video. So you guys can watch it if you want to watch the full thing, because it's 40 minutes and I'm obviously not gonna play it for 40 minutes, okay? But I'm going to play it for a little while. So
Дуже добре пам'ятаю, як коли все тільки починалось, 24 число, і після нього, там, перші дні, майже вся увага була прикута до Києва, навколо Києва. На той час в Маріуполі була ще не така критична ситуація, і Редіс, командир полку, майже кожного дня дзвонив мені і питав, як ви там, тримається Київ. Казав, ви ж тільки витримайте, захистіть Київ. Ну, він реально дуже сильно переживав за Київ, бо розумів, що це столиця, що її треба втримати.
Вже в перший день було зрозуміло, що вони Азов в Маріуполі будуть в оточенні.
okay, let's I will try to move it towards where there is footage of what was happening. Okay.
Добровільно там на деблокаду. Потім з них відбирали там тих людей, хто більше готовий туди полетіли.
There were supposed to be okay, here. This is helicopter footage from the people.
За вже загиблих друзів в Маріуполі,
Okay,
але абсолютно всі свідомо приймали це надзвичайно просто героїчно, хоробре рішення.
Here, there we go.
100% людей, які летіли, вони ніколи не літали гелікоптером. Ніколи в своєму житті. І побачили вони цей гелікоптер за 10 хвилин до посадки в нього. Кельт був проінструктований бійцями ГУРу, що треба робити в разі екстраординарних ситуацій. І ми змогли разом з ним, проводячи брифінг, не просто розповісти людям про те, що ви будете доставлені спеціальною маршруткою з одного міста в Маріуполь, а ви будете використані як десант.
И в этот день мы узнали уже конкретно, что мы и как будем делать. Нам сказали, что мы будем вертолетами на низкой высоте по балкам лететь. Это 40 минут по нашей территории, 40 минут по вражеской территории. И со стороны моря залетать сам завод «Азовсталь» и там десантироваться.
Нам дуже пощастило, тому що Кельт став для людей прекрасним командиром, пояснюючи, що ми будемо робити в разі, якщо гелікоптер там впаде і буде можливість вижити, і треба буде рухатися кудись в напрямку своїх.
Никто не налетал на вертолетах, никто никогда не десантировался, но, в принципе, мы уже перед самой посадкой вертолета, мы успели так, пока загружали БК, обговорить, кто как будет выходить и как вся эта процедура будет.
Прибувши на аеродром, вступили вже у зв'язок з Редісом. Дуже добре пам'ятаю, що за декілька годин він написав, що все вийде. Ось все вийде. Це для самого Дениса теж момент був не тільки бойовий, але й моральний. Що є люди, які не кидають на призволяще. Є люди, які будують міст. Будують собою, своїми тілами, будують цей міст.
Ну, где-то уже под 4 утра, где-то вот 5 утра мы вылетели при темноте. Действительно, нам сказали, что пилоты очень классные асы, что они летают восхитительно. Как бы.
Для того, щоб нас не збивали, доводилось гратись виключно такими речами, як висота польоту та час польоту. Доводилось летіти просто майже як машина по землі практично. Декілька разів навіть чіпляли землю, чіпляли верхівки дерев через те, що дуже сильно прижимались. Ворог чув, що ми летимо, але не міг побачити. Ну просто йому не видно було, де саме летить гвинтокрил, через те, що він надзвичайно низько, просто майже по поверхні землі летіли.
Кромки деревьев задевалось даже шасси, то есть, чувствовалось, что мы шасси, то есть я сидел у самой двери, то есть прямо в иллюминаторе, и то есть я видел прямо самой низины, потому что мы летели под балками, и вертолет буквально перед каждой линией электропередач приподнимался, чтобы обогнать его, и снова садился.
Друга річ, окрім висоти, за допомогою якої нам вдавалося ще якусь кількість разів літати, це час польоту, а саме це ніч. Вночі, щоб було розуміння, не тільки гвинтокрил не видно, але і пілот майже нічого не бачить. Є, безумовно, спеціальні прибори, які допомагають вночі літати, але навіть з ними це зробити надзвичайно складно. Це взагалі, це надзвичайний рівень професіоналізму летіти в таких умовах. Більше того, повертатись назад завжди тобі треба по тому ж самому маршруту, майже, на якому тебе чекають.
Вот так мы вылетели до Мариуполя, потом где-то уже со стороны Милейкина мы вылетели на море, и со стороны моря мы зашли на Азовсталь. Мы, считай, 2 вертолетами летели, но наш вертолет, он немного перепутал место посадки. И то есть, где ожидали ранее, мы улетели чуть дальше. То есть мы высадились, где никто нас не встречал. То есть мы быстренько высадились, все выгрузили, вертолет поднялся и улетел. То есть нас никто не встречал. Буквально мы там 2 минутки осмотрелись, где что, нашли, говоря, типа подземного бункера, и мы быстренько туда ушли и сидели. И где-то минут только через 30 за нами уже подъехали ребята с Азова, мы быстренько в кразы погрузились и уехали.
Іншою похідною задачею було вивозити звідти поранених, важких поранених, які їм не можна було дати ради в підземеллях. Десятки азовців, морських піхотинців, нацгвардійців, поліцейських, прикордонників було вивезено в таким шляхом. За декілька годин Кельт загине.
So I'm going to
У
post
себе на
a link to this video on YouTube in the description after the live is over. The live is over, not live. And you guys can continue watching it if you'd like to. It's just a very long one, and I still have news to get through. But it's very interesting. Okay. Behind Borodyanka in the village of Zahalci in Nezalezhnosti Street, there is a burnt tank, and people continue to rake up the destruction. It was this street that the invaders actively bombed from aircraft when the armed forces of Ukraine were there. Our journalists talked to some of the eyewitnesses of the terrible bombings that began on March 8th and did not stop for 3 weeks. An elderly couple fled to the cellar while the shells destroyed their dwelling. One house was completely destroyed and 2 were badly damaged. Now they have been provided with a Polish modular house. The men collected a whole bunch of the remains of rockets and shells in the garden, and in the neighborhood, residents drove a bulldozer in order to clear the rubble of their house. Iskanders of the Russian army once again showed the real level of technological backwardness of the military-industrial complex of the Russian Federation, and the fact that the residents of the front-line cities of Russia need to be afraid of their own defenders. A night launch of the operational tactical complex Iskander of the Russian army from the launch area near Belgorod ended with the missile disintegrating in the air. This moment was caught on the video filmed by the Russians. This is what it looks like.
Ну, не комментируй, снимаю. Что моргает как-то. Ох.
Очень интересно.
Что он до сих пор свис?
Оно вниз падает.
Что-то странное.
Да что ж ты не говоришь?
Ой-ой.
Странно.
Пиздец.
The Second Army of the World. Rescuers showed the consequences of shelling a tank with sunflower oil in Mykolaiv. Approximate fire area 300 square meters. Information about the victims is being specified. US to give spot robot dogs to Ukraine. The robotic dog will be used to clear the territory of Ukraine from mines and unexploded cluster munitions, in particular in Bucha and Irpin. Spot can move unexploded ordnance 50 to 100 at a time using a robotic arm installed in place of its head. This will prevent people's lives from being put at risk. The cost of such a robot dog is just over $70,000. Добрий вечір. This is what it looks like. This is kind of it's a very interesting ad for these robodogs. Anyways, how cute. 1 second. Ukraine must return to its control over the territories it owned before February 24th, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. We're convinced that we must help the Ukrainians to put up a strategic resistance, but we cannot be Ukrainians any more than the Ukrainians themselves. This is their crisis, and they must decide what to do. They will not give up territory in exchange for peace. They will not agree to a bad agreement. Ukrainian territory must be restored at least to the borders by February 24th. The sovereignty and security of the country must be protected, is what Boris Johnson said. This is what one of the Severodonetsk-Lysychansk bridges looks like at the moment. I will show you. ZSU entered Kherson. ZSU, so the Armed Forces of Ukraine, are officially in Kherson area. Kherson is the city that has been occupied by the Russian forces for a while now, and they wanted to do a referendum in Kherson. The Armed Forces of Ukraine have officially entered Kherson and broke through the front line in order to liberate the city. Former People's Deputy Igor Museichuk and Vitaly Kupri wrote on Facebook that there will soon be good news from Kherson and that our military have entered the city. Allegedly, the information was obtained from their sources. "10 dead and 10 wounded. The consequences of the shelling of the Kharkiv region and Kharkiv today. According to the head of Kharkiv Army, Oleksandr Hubov, in Kharkiv, 4 people were injured. The other 6 were wounded in shelling of the Kharkiv region by the Russian occupiers. There 3 died in Zolochiv, 5 in Prishib, and 2 more in Chuhuyev. Journalists of the German newspaper Bild came under fire while leaving Lysychansk. According to one journalist, none of them were injured. He believes the Russian occupiers fired mortars at the road. Today, Russians killed 4 civilians in Donbass, head of the Donetsk Army, Pavlo Korolenko. 2 died in Prichistovka, 1 in Krasnohorivka, and 1 in Zalizne. Another 5 were injured. Belarus is digging trenches along the border with Ukraine, Poland, and Lithuania, according to the media. Meanwhile, head of intelligence of Ukraine, Kirill Budanov, stated that there is no threat from Belarus today. The situation is under control. About 1,500 people died and more than 2,000 were injured during the earthquake in Afghanistan. The number of deaths as a result, sorry, I don't know what, 1,500 people died and 2,000 were injured during the earthquake in Afghanistan, and this was reported by Al Jazeera. And now there is a new address by Volodymyr Zelensky. From the very morning, he continued the telephone marathon for a positive decision of the candidacy for Ukraine. Today, I spoke with the leaders of 11 countries: Bulgaria, Latvia, Greece, Sweden, Estonia, the Czech Republic, Belgium, Austria, Slovenia, Moldova, and spoke again with the president of Lithuania, Nausėda. I expressed him our full support for the situation around the Kaliningrad region of Russia. I will continue this marathon. We must provide maximum support to our state. We expect a key European decision in the evening. And this is all of the news that we have for today. Yeah, Belarus is not going to let Belarusian citizens come back, but I think that the people who fled Belarus are only going to come back if it's going to be the storm of the government. Thank you, Sid. Thank you, Jilly. Десь у наших місцевих чатах і херсонці прориваються трохи на зв'язок, казали так. А, херсонці казали, що це неправда? Чи херсонці казали, що таки ЗСУ прорвалося? Бо там було написано, що тільки 4 вулиці. So yes, thank you, Sid. Okay, so Russia. So Carlos is asking, do I think Russia will actually go to war with Lithuania? I don't think that they will, because Lithuania is in NATO. And that would be a death warrant for Russia, genuinely. And that would be a war with NATO, which they know they can't win. So that would be a very, 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 very stupid decision by them. So no, I do not believe that Russia has any reason to go to war with Lithuania. I think they're just threatening them. So yeah, no, that's impossible, because Lithuania is also near other countries who are in NATO and Article 5. So, no, they are. They have been recently, in the last few months. They have been putting a lot of American troops in the Baltics. Can the situation change if Russia doesn't? Okay, so I'm gonna pin this. Can the situation change if Russia doesn't? Yes. If Russia doesn't change, the situation will change, and if Europe stops tiptoeing around Russia, and if Europe actually blows all of their connection to Russia. Europe has been still buying Russian gas and oil, and And if they stop doing that, if they completely cut off Russia, and if we basically give it a status quo like North Korea, then yeah, the situation will change because Russia will not have any resources to do anything outside of Russia. And Russia won't be able to feed their military complex. Russia won't be able to feed their citizens. Russia won't be able to have any import. Russia won't be able to have any export. And at some point, in a couple of months in, the people are going to revolt. And Russia is going to crumble. And it's already happening because they are trying to invoke an artificial famine onto the world, because in order for the world to lift the sanctions, because clearly the sanctions aren't working. So there is that. Then the next question here is, what would happen if Putin died? So I don't know. Here's the thing. If Putin died, it's not like it's a magic pill solution to the problems, right? The war would probably stop because it's just simply monetarily inconvenient for other people. But the thing is that whoever the Russian leader is who's going to come after Putin under these circumstances is not going to be a person who's much better than Putin, because in order for the Russian mentality, Russian attitude, and Russia to change as a country, and Russia to change in terms of like attitude towards the world, attitude towards the West, in order for Russia to improve, right? Russians need to change. Russians need to understand what Russia has done. Russians need to want change. Russians need to want to have a different leader. Russians need to want to have things like that. And if Russians don't, then it doesn't matter who comes after Putin. You know, at the end of the day, the problem with Russia is not just Putin. The problem with Russia is Russians. The problem with Russia is Russia. And Russia is not the product of Putin. Putin is the product of Russia. So if Putin dies, yeah, most likely the invasion is going to at least pause, because it's economically not convenient for Russia, right? Or we don't know, because what if whoever takes over after him also wants to prove that whatever it is to the world, or also wants to rebirth the Soviet Union. But the thing is that if there is no change in Russians, then there is not going to be any change in Russia under the new government, right? And most likely, whoever is going to take over after Putin is going to be somebody who adheres to Putin's standards, unless there is a revolution. Or Putin might die and they might put in a lookalike in order to try and fix the situation in the meanwhile, because they're not going to know what to do. So there's that, because they're in deep, deep trouble right now. And the last thing they need is for Putin to die and for people to freak out, you know? So that's my answer to this question. See, the thing is, we don't need Russian apologies. Like, here's the thing, like, we don't want an apology, right? An apology is not going to fix anything. We want responsibility, we want acknowledgement, and we want them to understand what they have done. That's what we need. And it's not even for us. It's in order for Russia to be able to become a better country and for Russians to be able to become better people, is because the step to improvement is acknowledgement, right? And they need to acknowledge their imperialism, like inner imperialism in every single Russian. They need to acknowledge the colonizer in every single person. They need to acknowledge them, that they have been looking down on everybody, that they have been colonizing other nations, that they have not been letting Buryats and Uyghurs and other people within Russia, thank you so much, be their own nation. Like, they need to acknowledge all of these things. And until they do, until they bear the responsibility, until they acknowledge everything they have done, until they understand everything they have done, until they admit that their history is stolen, and until they start building new history without trying to defend the old history, which isn't theirs, and until they admit that their history is stealing, theft, and looting, they are not going to change, and nothing is going to change, because it's going to be different leadership, same people, different people, same leadership. It doesn't matter. But the thing is that nothing is going to change unless Russians change. There's that. Okay, with that said, I do have a lot to finish today. As per usual, I am going to include everything that we've talked about into the description of this video promptly right after this live. Please subscribe to my Patreon if you have an ability to, because a lot of people are unsubscribing, and this is something that I do full time at this point, and it does really, really, really help when you guys subscribe to Patreon, because it's $10 a month, but it does help me tremendously. Thank you so much, Kanasi. So it does help me tremendously when you guys subscribe to Patreon. It's about $10 a month for the cheapest subscription. It's kind of like Netflix, but it does go a long, long, long way for me. I think this month about 5 or 6 people unsubscribed, which is minus I think those subscriptions were the more expensive levels, and it's about minus $200, which is a huge, 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 huge difference. And I really thank you for having been there for a month or two. It does make a huge difference. And I'm not saying this to be like, oh, I'm just saying that if you are able to, please give it a chance. I am now finally getting into the gist of things, and I'm finally trying to better my sleep schedule. In fact, today I woke up at a human time, and I'm not working I wasn't up till 5 a.m. yesterday. Or maybe I was, but in any case, I woke up at 10 and I spent a very productive day, and I've been doing things and working and stuff. Normally I work till 5 in the morning. My schedule has been really screwed up because of the war, and I'm trying to figure all of that out. So that subsequently means that I'm going to be able to post more content on Patreon. I am going to come out with a new schedule, and I'm going to adhere to it. I am also doing, I think, a pretty decent job with the YouTube, and I'll be keeping TikTok going, and there is going to be content coming to Patreon that's actually Patreon exclusive, and there are going to be videos and stuff like that. And so I would love, and you guys are going to be able to vote on content that you want to see and stuff like that. Thank you, Brandy. I really do appreciate it. So if you have an opportunity to sign up for Patreon, I would highly, 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 highly appreciate that, and would be very, very, very grateful. And thank you guys very, 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 very much for being here every evening. Thank you for checking out my Amazon wish list, because without that, half of these technological advancements to this channel would not be possible. So thank you very, very much to all of you. Thank you for being so kind, so amazing, and so supportive. First of all, to Ukraine and to me as well. And I really appreciate that you are here every night, and you are willing to hear out the news, and you are still supporting Ukraine, and you're not letting it become news fatigue for you. To Transatlantic Connections, Yulia, where did you study political science? I did not study political science. I'm very interested in politics. Thank you, Kanasi. Thank you, Yum. Thank you. Hi, Pamela. Thank you so much for being here. Transatlantic Communications on YouTube is asking me, Yulia, where did you study political science? So before I go, I'm going to address this. I did not study political science. I studied psychology and graphic design. I went to a history intensive school, and I took 6 hours of history since middle school to end of high school. I generally am very interested in psychology. I have a degree in it. I am very interested in politics. I am very much interested in geography, and I'm very much interested in history. I have been very deeply entrenched into these subjects, since my entire conscious life. So I'm not a political science expert. I'm not a political science educated, poli-sci major. I'm not educated in political science formally. I did take a lot of sociology during my psychology years, and I did take a lot of political psychology. So that could serve as something, but I am self-educated and I am just a person who's very, very, very interested in geopolitics, in politics, in history, and in rather not even geography that much. I do know geography pretty well, but mostly in geopolitics. So that's that. I just wanted to address it, but my formal education is a bachelor's in psychology and graphic design, and I am a UX UI designer or a product designer, whichever one you are used to hearing more. And I specialize more in UX, which is human interaction and the way apps work. And I do UI as well because, well, that's part of my job. But I am much better at solving puzzles and making things more efficient. So that's that. I hope that you guys enjoy these streams. I hope they're helpful for you. I do really appreciate all of you being here, and I will see you tomorrow during the day. In sociology, and I'm interested to interview you. Yes, sure, of course. Let's talk. Let's talk on Instagram. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is. Thank you so much, Tawny. Thank you so much, Jilly. I really appreciate that, guys. I am going to. I don't speak Spanish, ma io parlo italiano. Io ho capito spagnolo, ma solo un po'. All right. Arrivederci. Buona serata. A tutti. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye. Do widzenia and do побачення. Bye, guys, on TikTok. And then I'm just going to answer a quick question here. And I will see you guys tomorrow. And bye. Aroha nui. Aroha nui. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I would love to learn some more Maori. Thank you so much. You know what? I'm going to follow you back because I am very interested in learning some more Maori. All right, bye guys. And okay, let me unpin this. I am going to end the poll. So if you'd like to talk more, you please DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is the same as my TikTok. It's Yulia, like Yewleea. My DMs are open, and I would love to talk. And then about the interview and about the donation, if you would still like to make one, that would be incredibly helpful. And Yulia and Max would be very grateful, so I would be as well, but they are genuinely amazing. And if you haven't had the chance to check out their Instagram yet, they have done a tremendous amount of work. And Mac Fergon, I'm headed back to Ukraine next week as a medic. I'm going to try to get on one of your TikTok lives when I'm there. Yes, I would love that, please. That would be great. And thank you so very much for going to Ukraine and for caring and for spending your time trying to help our people. Trust me, we don't take it for granted, and we are incredibly grateful for everything that everybody has done for us. Thank you so very much, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.